A civilian employee of the U.S. Army has been arrested for allegedly stealing $100 million from the federal government. The employee was using a shell company to get millions in grants and payments from the government by lying about the services that the company was performing. Isn't the real question, how in the hell does our U.S. government not understand that this is going on? Why did they not do anything for years? This went on for years, man. I mean, we're talking about, this woman had a fleet of 70, I'm not making this up. I can see some pointed-headed bureaucrat in charge of this whole thing, okay? And while this is going on, let's say it embezzled real estate, 31 individual properties, a $3.1 million estate in Maryland, 58 acres, with a 55-car garage that had a fleet of 78 vehicles, apparently, everything from Ferraris to Mercedes to Chevy Chevelles. What the hell? I mean, how does she get away with it? Because we have a bunch of dunces in charge of regulatory here.
Right.
$100 million, Farron.
This was the better part of a decade that this scam was carried out, $100 million. Nobody in the office apparently noticed that she's driving a different car to work every single day. But here's the thing. She had this group that was called the Child Health and Youth Lifelong Development Entity. Mm-hmm. And it says, hey, look, we're going to take the children of military service members and I'm going to help them with stuff. And the military says, well, we like stuff. We like kids.
What was the stuff? When I read it, I didn't even figure out what the stuff was.
I don't know that she ever told anybody. But she says, okay, so let's give lots of money to my organization, write me checks every year.
To help children with stuff.
Exactly. Yeah. And so they did. Yeah. And instead of this being a real group, obviously she spent the money on the cars, the homes, the real estate, jewelry. I mean, just
taxpayers bought all that.
They did.
Okay, because you've got a dysfunctional bureaucracy that is, especially if it's attached to the military at all, it's dysfunctional. That's why we gave them $1 trillion basically this year, so they could do this kind of thing. But this story to me, this is a little different, but you're constantly reading about, American taxpayers are totally fleeced on this, but we didn't have any control of it. There's some things you do have control over, and this, as I was researching this, Black Lives Matter stole $20 million over a period of time. 10 million in one tranche, European another 10 million. You've got GoFundMe. GoFundMe it's a situation to where, do you remember the story, the Johnny Babbitt story?
Yeah.
Johnny Bobbitt. That's where a fellow was, okay, so he was supposed to be a veteran who was homeless. And the story was that he gave $20 to this woman that didn't have any money to buy fuel. It was his last $20. So they get online and they start the GoFundMe thing, right? Well, we all want to help, right? $400,000 stolen in a scam. It wasn't real. And if you look at some of the ways now here we didn't have any control over, right? This is the Army. This is the government supposed to be watching $100 million. It doesn't make any difference because they're paid $1 trillion by the White House and our Congress. So, but these stories like GoFundMe, there's stuff we can do. Due diligence. Now, GoFundMe says, well, we only have about 1% of these scams that take place. I ain't believing that. But, it's these small charities that we don't check into. We send, it looks like a good thing. We send them $100, $200, and there's no way for us to really keep up with it, is there?
Well, no. And, I feel like the military, our veterans and veterans' children, they are ripe for fraud, to be the victims, or at least, kind of like she did. Like, I want to help the children of the veterans and of our active duty service members. Who's going to say no to that? That is a good cause. Helping homeless veterans. Who's going to say no to that? Nobody. Yeah. So people take advantage of our generosity towards those who have served and their families, and that's what the GoFundMe folks have done. That's what she has done. And it unfortunately, taints the whole system.
Well, okay, I talk about Black Lives Matter. It was a reasonable organization that wanted to do some reasonable things, right? But then the leadership, it's not rank and file. it's leadership that at least in one instance, we know $10 million came missing, buying things like houses and all. And so we want to do the right thing, but we don't. It's almost to the point, unless we really do due diligence, we're going to be a victim to this. I mean, I always see stuff on GoFundMe that I want to give to, and I think you have to do that extra thing, and you have to check it out. What is this? That Bobbitt story is horrendous.
Yeah.
You know, the guy that was supposed to be the veteran, he's splitting the money with the husband and wife that are running the entire scam, making it look like we're going to build a house for Johnny Bobbitt. You know, we're going to do all these nice things for Bobbitt.
Well, you know, when you look at this woman too, with what she did here, $100 million, and that is a ton of money, don't get me wrong, but at the same time, you've got your Boeings, you've got your Lockheeds, you've got all these other military contractors that have been busted time and time again for ripping off the government. You know, all these key TAM cases that we've seen come through over the years, they're providing faulty equipment, faulty services, billing for services. KBR was huge for this. That didn't actually take place. Like, oh, we're going to do your laundry for the service members in Iraq.
Oh, yeah.
And we sat and we did those stories, and they just literally never did it.
We're going to wash
the money.
we're going to wash the dishes.
Right, and those people, nothing happens to them. She could be facing over 100 years in prison, which, listen, she deserves it. Don't get me wrong. If she did it, you know, we always got to say allegedly. I mean, I think it's
78 vehicles. You know, come on.
But why did nobody in the office notice that this woman who makes the same amount that they do, like, wait a minute.
Oh, you're driving a Ferrari today. Where'd that come from? I mean, it's just kind of basic.
So somebody in that office had to have known something was up. So I think this story's a little bit bigger as time goes on.
It is
We're going to
bigger.
find some other bad apples that helped her
When
with
you
this.
have $1 trillion that the government says, here, Pentagon, here, you know, U.S. Army, here's your money. You don't pay attention to $100 million. That's the problem.
Yeah.
They spend like drunk sailors, and this is a great example. They don't even have any checks and balances to find out. But more importantly, you know, you have, some of these things are just they're so right. You know, there's stuff you want to give to. And if GoFundMe is correct, like I said, they said it's only 1% of these programs that are fraud, and they've been saying that for years now, so it probably is true. But you know, when you hear stories like this, you go, maybe I ought to do my due diligence.